Today I'm making oil burners. I haven't made these before, so I'm making a couple of different shapes to see what works. The design is simple. A dish on top of a body. The body has a cutout in which to put a candle. When the tealight candle is lit, it gently heats the scented oil. So I've prepared some clay, a larger piece for the body and a smaller piece for the dish. I'll start by throwing the body. So I'm centering the clay here. I'm just pushing down in a cone shape and then bringing the clay back up in a cone shape. I do this until the clay is centered, and then I flatten the top down. Now I'm ready to open out. So I'm pushing down and opening the clay out and bringing the clay up a little. Now I'm pulling up the walls. I'm pulling up the clay. When I get to the top, I compress. So you can see my inner hand pushing out and my hand on the outer pushing back in. I bring my hands up together slowly and evenly. I pull the walls up as many times as I need to, and then I use a rib to flatten the wall. This shape is made by just gently pushing the top of the form inwards. I'll trim around the base and then I'm ready to wire through. So now to the little oil dish that will sit on top of the body. So I take a smaller piece of clay and center. And then I flatten the top, push down and open out, and bring the clay out into a nice wide bowl. Use a sponge to smooth down the center of the bowl. I shape the bowl a little and sponge, and then I'm ready to wire through. Now I'm going to try another shape for the body. So once again, I'm centering the clay by coning up and pushing back down, using plenty of water to reduce friction. Then I flatten the top of the clay and push into the clay and open out. I use a sponge to remove any water, and then I bring the walls up by pulling clay, so using one hand on the inside and the other on the outside. Starting at the bottom, the inside hand is leading, the outside hand's pushing back in. Where possible, I link my hands together for stability. Now I can straighten up the sides, and now what I want to do is shape this one. This one I'm going to shape a little more. So I start by collaring in, that is gently squeezing the clay, and I'm creating a triangle with my fingers and thumbs. And then I use my rib a little and shape. I bring the rim out a bit. So this shape, the oil dish, will sit on the outturned rim. Compress the top and sponge a little. Use the rib again, and once I've got the shape I like, I trim around the base with my arrowhead tool And then I'm ready to wire through. Now I'm ready to make the second oil dish, and I'll speed this up a little so it's not so tedious. Center, and then push down and open up into a wide flat bowl, and I let them dry to leather hard before I trim. So just pop them upside down, and I'm just going to do a very simple concave base, so just trimming gently and starting in the middle and working outwards. And just making sure that the outer edge is neatly trimmed too. So very, very simple base. And now I'm just going to smooth the base with a sponge and then compress with my rib. Great. Run my fingers over the base and we're done. Give my pot a quick sponge, and then I'm ready to trim one of the shallow bowls. So here I'm just trimming all the way across and making sure that the base has a smooth, rounded feel. So I start trimming in the middle, bring it out, and then back in towards the center. And now I want to just give it a quick sponge, and we're done. And now I'll take the next base and give it a trim. So I'm just trimming exactly the same base here. So now the pieces are leather hard, I'm going to create the cutout for the candles. So for this oil burner, I'm going to give it a cloud-shaped cutout. So I'm just using these cutters to cut into the side of the body and create a simple cloud. So I got the drying about right here. If it's too dry, the clay will crumble and crack while you're cutting. And if it's too wet as you cut, you'll misshape the pieces. So then I tidy up the areas that I've just cut and sponge a little. And I'm just going to put a stamp on the base. Because I've been trying a couple of different clays, I just want to mark the type of clay that I've used. And there we go. And I'm just going to keep this one simple. So I've got a little cutout of the pattern that I want to cut. It's just a simple semicircle. So I trace around my pattern and then I'm ready to cut it out with a knife. As I mentioned earlier, I'm actually testing out some different clays here, so I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to finish these. I'm firing plenty of test pieces at the moment, so I'll see the tests and then decide how I'm going to finish them. So once I've trimmed around with my knife and pushed the piece out, I'll smooth the edges and let these dry. So the next step is to bisque fire these pieces and then glaze. And there we are. If you like these videos or you find them useful, be sure to subscribe. It's much appreciated. Like and comment below. As always, happy potting.